Hello and welcome back to the Storyteller channel. Today's story time, we would be reading a book called The Bravest Penguin of All by Rena A. Forti and illustrated by Kathy Abady. The Bravest Penguin of All. In Antarctica, it was the day of the Great Penguin Swim Race. All the penguins were excited, especially one, Little Blue Penguin. I am going to be the first Little Blue Penguin ever to win this race, he said. Goodness gracious, said Emperor Penguin. You are much too small to win. Indeed, said King Penguin, sniffing the salty air. A champion needs to be big like me. And me, said Marconi Penguin, as he puffed out his white chest. But Little Blue Penguin was determined. I can do it, she whispered to herself, and tobogganed to the starting line at the edge of the bay. Gannet Bird swooped down and perched on a rocky ledge. Ready, penguins? She squawked. On your marks, get set, go! The penguins dived into the icy sea with a huge splash. The bigger penguins leaped in and out of the water, splashing and splattering Little Blue Penguin. Out of my way, shouted Imperial Penguin. Catch me if you can, chuckled King Penguin. You'll never make it, said Marconi Penguin. But Little Blue Penguin was determined. I can do it, she whispered to herself, and swam even faster. The crowd of penguins cheered and cheered. But suddenly the cheering stopped. There was an eerie silence. Little Blue Penguin felt something was wrong, so she paddled to the nearest iceberg and hopped on. What is that monstrous black lump? She asked. Oh, squawked Gannet Bird as she swooped down to land on the iceberg. It's a whale! Little Blue Penguin stared and stared. It's not just a whale, she said. It's a killer whale. I must warn the others, said Little Blue Penguin, and dived off the iceberg. She torpedoed through the water. Danger, danger, cried Little Blue Penguin. There's a killer whale right behind us. Uh-oh, he's coming for us, cried King Penguin with a quivering beak. Help, cried Emperor Penguin, huffing and puffing in fear. What are we going to do? Asked Marconi Penguin. Little Blue Penguin paddled in front of them. Everything will be all right, she promised. But everything was not all right. The killer whale leaped out of the sea and hit the water with a gigantic smack. With wide snapping jaws, he circled the penguins. But Little Blue Penguin called out, Hey, killer whale, she said, watch this, and she ducked underwater. What was Little Blue Penguin up to? Emperor Penguin was almost too afraid to peek. King Penguin was afraid to peek, and Marconi Penguin could only watch. Little Blue Penguin started spinning round and round and round and made a mighty whirlpool. The killer whale's eyes spun round and round and round. He grew dizzier and dizzier and dizzier. Then Little Blue Penguin crept onto the killer whale's back. She stuck her beak into his ear, took a deep breath, and let out a thundering boo. Killer Whale was terrified, so terrified that he zigzagged off in the opposite direction. Emperor Penguin leaped for joy. King Penguin rejoiced and cried penguin tears. Marconi Penguin was just amazed. Little Blue Penguin paddled back to shore. By now the entire colony of penguins had gathered to cheer Little Blue Penguin to the rescue, and they chanted over and over again. Gannet Bird ruffled her feathers. "Attention, one and all," she squawked. "The champion of the Great Penguin Swim Race is Little Blue Penguin, the first Little Blue Penguin ever to win the race." And everybody cheered and cheered and cheered. The end. I hope you've enjoyed the story. For lots more exciting stories, please remember to like and subscribe at the Storyteller channel. Bye for now.
Hello and welcome to the Storyteller channel. Today we will be reading a book called This Old Van by Kim Norman, illustrated by Carolyn Conahan. This Old Van. This old van, she passed one, shining in the rising sun, with a click-clack, rattle-rack, ready for some fun. This old van says goodbye one. This old van, she passed two, friendly flaggers wave her through, with a click-clack, rattle-rack, tooting at the crew. This old van says goodbye too. That goodbye too. Two of the construction cars. This old van, she passed three, ploughing round a tulip tree, with a click-clack, rattle-rack, baggage flying free. This old van says goodbye three. This old van, she passed four, roaring toward the grocery store, with a click-clack, rattle-rack, pedal to the floor. This old van says goodbye four. This old van, she passed five, zigging up a zaggy drive, with a click-clack, rattle-rack, when will she arrive? This old van says goodbye five. This old van, she passed six, hauling 500,000 bricks, with a click-clack, rattle-rack, spitting oily slicks. This old van says goodbye six. Goodbye six. This old van, she passed seven, honking horns at hot fudge heaven, with a click-clack, rattle-rack, flat on Route 11. This old van says goodbye seven. This old van, she passed eight, riding high as shiny fright, with a click-clack, rattle-rack, now she's running late. This old van says goodbye eight. This old van, she passed nine, just before the country line, with a click-clack, rattle-rack, glad to see the sign. This old van says goodbye nine. This old van, she passed 10, dodging dirt clods now and then, with a click-clack, rattle-rack, wipers on again. This old van says goodbye 10. This old van, caked in grime, picks up speed for one last climb with a click-clack, ratter-rack, bloody in her prime. This old van is just in time. Thank you so much for watching. For more exciting stories, please remember to like and subscribe at the Storyteller channel. Bye for now. Hello and welcome to the Storyteller channel. In today's story time, we will be learning about the solar system in a book called There's No Place Like Space. It's by Tish Raby and illustrated by Aristides Ruiz. There's no place like space. There's no place like space. I'm the cat in the hat and we're off to have fun. We'll visit the planets, the stars and the sun. There is no place like space, I will prove it to you. Your mother will not mind at all if I do. Jump in, here we go. We will fly up so high, we can dance on the moon and play games in the sky. We will swing past the stars, and in case you have missed them, you'll soon see the planets in our solar system. There are 9 of these planets that circle the sun, and soon you'll be able to name everyone. Mercury is close to the sun's burning light. It is hot in the daytime but freezing at night. On Venus the weather is always the same, hot, dry and windy with no chance of rain. Can you guess the next planet? Well, here is a clue. It is my home and home to thing 1 and thing 2. You have been living on it each day since your birth. It is third from the sun. It is our planet, Earth. It spins all the time, round and round like a top. It turns once every day and it never will stop. This question had thing 1 and thing 2 in a tizzy. If the Earth's always spinning, why don't we feel dizzy? We don't feel the way the Earth as it spins on its way, cause we're spinning right with it, right now, every day. Next here is Mars. It's the color of rust. We sneeze here because it is covered in dust. Travel to Jupiter and you will find it is bigger than all the other planets combined. Saturn has rings. It's so light, who would think it could float in an ocean and not even sink? A planet can have satellites that surround it. Uranus has lots of these objects around it. There are colors in space. I will show some to you. Neptune, you see, is a beautiful blue. If you lived on Pluto, it would be nice. It would not be nice. Some astronomers think it is covered with ice. It is chilly and cold every night and all day, for the sun's just a speck in the sky far away. An astronomer studies what's up in the sky. Thing 2 wants to be one. In fact, so do I. We have seen all 9 planets. Now here is a trick to remember their names and remember them quick. Say, Mallory, Valerie, Emily, Mitza just served us 999 pizzas. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune and Pluto. The first letter of each of these words is the same as the first letter in each of the planets you name. Now here is the game you can play in the skies. Connect all the stars you can see with your eyes. It's star dot to dot. Use your imaginations and you'll see big pictures we call constellations. There is a dog, the great bear, and the Leo lion, Taurus the bull, and a hunter, Orion. A star in the sky may look small, like a dot, but it's really a big glowing ball, and it's hot. And there's one star by far that's our favorite one. We can't live without it. It's the star called the sun. From the Earth it looks big. There is no reason why. It's the closest to Earth of the stars in the sky. But be careful and never look right at the sun. Your eyes would get hurt, and that would not be fun. How big is the sun? We just heard right this minute 1,000,000 of our Earths could all fit right in it. Oh, look at that. Look at the time. We must go very soon, but first we must take a quick look at the moon. The moon does not shine in the sky in the night, but like a big mirror reflects the sun's light. The universe is a mysterious place. We are only just learning what happens in space. So I brought you a present to look in the sky. Just put this telescope up to your eye. Oh dear, I must go fly back up to the stars and take thing 1 and thing 2 out to dinner on Mars. But there's lots to discover, and it might be you who looks up in the sky and finds something that's new. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the story. For more exciting stories, please remember to like and subscribe at the Storyteller channel. Bye for now. Hello and welcome to the Storyteller channel. In today's story time, I will be reading you a book called Tortoise and the Hare. It's by P. Crumble and Louis Shee. Tortoise and the Hare. On the morning of his big day, Tortoise leaped out of bed straight away, for today on stage with his guitar he would become a singing superstar. The judges had loved Tortoise at his auditions. They'd praised him for his slick renditions. On the bus after the last round, Tortoise had dreamed of being crowned. So he ironed some pants, his favorite pair, and went to the cupboard to fetch his hair. Tortoise gasped and turned bright green. His favorite wig could not be seen. Where, oh where, oh where is my favorite hair? Is it under the bed or on the chair? I'll never win now. It's just not fair. Meanwhile, on the bus, Bear quietly sat. Something tickled his foot. What is that? Under the seat he found a wig. He tried it on. His head was too big. The wig was tossed to the back of the bus. It landed near Zebra, who caused a fuss. With her tail she gave it a flick. It flew out the window extra quick. Tired Monkey was having a doze when something hairy tickled his nose. With a mighty sneeze, the wig took off and landed in Pig's feeding trough. Now, Pig was quite a hungry fellow. His table manners were far from mellow, but even he could not munch that hairy mass that was stuck in his lunch. Where, oh where, oh where is my favorite hair? Is it under the bed or on the chair? I'll never win now, it's just not fair. The flying wig landed near the river. Its arrival made Hippo quiver. A new hairdo would be just great, especially to impress her date. By now Tortoise had given up hope. He left for the studio in a terrible mope. I've got lots of wigs, but not my favorite hair. I'll never win now. It's just not fair. Tortoise's friend Hare was having a meal when he saw next made him squeal. Oh my goodness, I know that wig. Tortoise will want it for the gig. He ran from the cafe, clutching the hare. Tortoise will need it. I'll get it there. Hare raced past monkey, zebra, and pig, past hippo and bear, whose head was too big. Tortoise took to the stage, heart pounding. He opened his mouth and began to sing. Hare arrived just in time to hear. The audience gave a mighty cheer. The judges adored his slick new look, but his beautiful voice was all it took. Hare threw away that crazy old wig. Tortoise never needed it to make it big. I hope you've enjoyed the story. For more exciting stories, please remember to like and subscribe at the Storyteller channel. Bye for now.
Hello and welcome to the Storyteller channel. Today's story would be about Tricky Little Hippo. It's by Jane Boring and illustrated by Nina Rycroft. Two little hippopotamuses stared at the water. They were counting 9, 10, 11, 12. A little way down the river, the big hippos rumbled and grumbled, but the little hippos took no notice. 13, 14, 15. Above them, a bird squawked and flapped its wings, but the little hippos didn't lose count. Kept on counting. 16, 17. Oh! There was a splash and a roly-poly little hippo burst out of the water. How many did I do? Cried Holly. Water sprayed from her ears as they popped up straight. 17, said Heath. Oh, said Holly, is that all? It was two better than Heath, but Honey had stayed under the water for 21 whole seconds. It's a lot of seconds to stay under the water. Let's play a different game, said Holly, chasing in the mud. Chasing's in the mud, yelled Honey, and the three little hippos raced off to the mud hole just beyond the reeds. They squealed and they squelched, and they rolled and they belched, and the mud squished through their toes as they chased each other through the slippy, sloppy mud. Heath caught Holly, and Honey caught Holly, and Holly caught Honey, and Heath caught Honey, but nobody came even close to catching Heath. The three little hippos played and played until the sun began to go down. When their mothers came to get them, they couldn't tell which little hippo was which. As the frogs began to croak their evening song, Holly's friend Egret flew down from a tree. Did you have fun today? Said Egret. Yes, said Holly, but then she sighed. What is it, little one? Said Egret. Well, said Holly, Honey was best at staying under water, and Heath was best at chasings. I want to be best at something too. You are best at something, said Egret. Am I? Said Holly. What will we play now? Asked Holly the next morning. Hide and seek, said Heath. I'll be it. Heath covered her eyes and began to count. Honey swam off and hid behind a clump of water reeds. She stayed very, very still. Holly couched behind her mother, who was dozing on the river bank. "Coming, ready or not," cried Heath. Heath looked all around him. He looked at the big hippos resting in the shallows, their heads pillowed on each other's backs. He looked at the water reeds, long and green at the water's edge. And then he looked at Holly's mother, snorting and snuffling at the riverbank. Peeking up behind her back he saw two little ears. Found you, Holly," he cried. "Let's play a different game," said Holly. "I know," said Heath. "Who can open their mouth the widest?" Honey went first. She opened her mouth very wide. Holly went next, and she opened her mouth even wider. But then Heath opened his mouth so wide that his teeth glinted in the sunlight. As the frogs began to croak their evening song, Holly's friend Egret flew down from a tree. "Did you have fun today?" said Egret. "Oh, yes," said Holly. But Honey was best at hiding and Heath was best at opening his mouth. "I want to be best at something too." "You are best at something," said Egret. "Am I?" said Holly. The next day, Honey said, "Let's play who can stay under the water the longest." Holly didn't want to. She was sure Honey would win. But then she saw a dark shape walking on the bottom of the river, and she changed her mind. Honey went first and she stayed under for 22 seconds. Heath went second and he stayed under for 23 seconds. And then it was Holly's turn. She took a huge gulp of water and sank beneath the water. 1, 2, 3, Honey and Heath began to count. 8, 9, 10. They were counting so carefully they didn't see Holly walk along the riverbed and go around behind them. 15, 16, 17. Heath and Honey were counting so carefully they didn't see Holly watching them from the reeds. 21, 22. Holly would have to come up so soon. Egret flapped his wings and flew down onto Honey's back. But the two little hippos didn't lose count. 26, 27. Heath and Honey were getting worried now. No little hippo has ever stayed under this long. They stared hard at the water. They were staring so hard they didn't notice the little raft of eyes, ears and nose gliding silently towards them. They were staring so hard that when a roly-poly shape burst out of the water behind them bellowing, "Tricked you! Tricked you!" they all belly flopped into the water. When she looked at her friends' astonished faces, the grin on Holly's face was so huge that her teeth glinted in the sunlight. "I'm the best at being tricky, I'm the best at being tricky," she roared. "You are indeed," said Egret, shaking the water from his feathers. "You are the trickiest little hippo." The end. I hope you've enjoyed the story. For more exciting videos, please remember to like and subscribe at the Storyteller channel. Bye for now.
Hello and welcome to the Storyteller channel. In today's story time, I will be reading you a book called The Wonky Donkey. Words by Craig Smith and illustrations by Katz Coley. The Wonky Donkey. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey. He howled and he only had 3 legs. He was a wonky donkey. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey. He-how. He only had 3 legs and 1 eye. He was a winky wonky donkey. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey. He-how. He only had 3 legs, 1 eye, and he liked to listen to country music. Yee-haw! He was a honky tonky winky wonky donkey. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey. He-how. He only had 3 legs, 1 eye. He liked to listen to country music and he was quite tall and slim. He was a lanky honky tonky winky wonky donkey. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey. He-how. He only had 3 legs, 1 eye. He liked to listen to country music. He was quite tall and slim and he smelled really bad. He was a stinky dinky lanky honky tonky winky wonky donkey. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey. He-how. He only had 3 legs, 1 eye. He liked to listen to country music. He was quite tall and slim. He smelled really bad. And that morning he'd got up early and hadn't had any coffee. He was a cranky, stinky, lanky, honky tonky, winky wonky donkey. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey. He-how. He only had 3 legs, 1 eye. He liked to listen to country music. He was quite tall and slim. He smelled really bad. That morning he'd got up early and hadn't had any coffee and he was always getting up to mischief. He was a hanky panky cranky stinky dinky lanky honky tonky winky wonky donkey. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey. He-how. He only had 3 legs, 1 eye. He liked to listen to country music. He was quite tall and slim. He smelled really bad. That morning he'd got up early and hadn't had any coffee. He was always getting up to mischief, but he was quite good looking. He was a spunky, hanky, panky, cranky, stinky, dinky, lanky, honky, tonky, winky, wonky donkey. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey. He-how. Thank you so much for listening. For more exciting stories, please remember to like and subscribe at the Storyteller channel. Bye for now.
The end. And that's the end of our story time. For more bedtime stories, you can check on our YouTube playlist or listen to more Storytime compilations at the Storyteller Fox. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.